Good morning from the overcast but still beautiful islands of the Philippines. I'm your host, Dalvin Bennett with Flying by Faith, and I'm excited. Wait a minute, why am I talking to you guys with a mask? Well, welcome to the new norm. I hate mask, but if I don't wear it, I cannot fly. So, gotta be wearing a mask these days. Anyways, if you really like these videos, I encourage you to subscribe to my YouTube channel, Flying by Faith. You can follow me on Instagram, Flying by Faith. You can like my Facebook page, Flying by Faith. Yep, it's all Flying by Faith. Even on Twitter, I have a Flying by Faith, but I don't really have much followers there. Don't post much. Anyways, I want to welcome you to this new series that was promised. It's a whole sermon that I did, and I've decided to break it down into 7 minute portions so you're not bored by the presentation. Um, and basically, as a missionary pilot, I like to connect pretty much everything that I do. I want to get some spiritual meaning out of it. So there's one thing I was studying in my theory class that really stood out to me, and it's basically aerodynamics. Now, for those who are pilots watching this, I'm not a flight instructor. I'm not a professional at these theoretical stuff. I'm still a student, just barely reached 500 hours, and I was not the most top-notch student in theory class. But nonetheless, without butchering my stuff, I gonna do justice to what makes an airplane fly. So for those who are not pilots, when it comes to aerodynamics, we're gonna be looking at four forces that makes an airplane fly. You see them fly um, all the time, but you need to know what makes it fly. So there are four forces that is acting upon an airplane, and the first one is uh, thrust. It's the forward motion. So we're gonna put that here, thrust, forward motion, and that's what we're gonna be dealing with in episode one. So the engine is turning. In my case, my engine for that Cessna 182, it has 230 horsepower, very powerful engine. So thrust is the forward motion. When air is flowing over the wings, it generates lift, and that's the upward force, right? Then we have weight, which is the downward force, and then we have drag, which is the backward force or aft force, or the one that is holding the airplane back. So in episode one, we're going to be dealing with thrust. So there is an engine. You start the engine, it has 230 horsepower, and when you add that power and the engine and the crankshaft begins to rotate in a particular direction, it thrusts the airplane um, forward, right? So it's the forward motion. So I was in ground school just thinking as a missionary pilot, how can I connect this aspect of aerodynamics to my spiritual life? What does thrust represent? And I found out that thrust represent human effort, right? Human effort. It's what you and I can do to help ourselves in any situation at all. We have a role to play in how we are propelled forward in life, right? So thrust represents human effort. There are three Bible verses that I want to share with you. Number one is Exodus chapter 4, verse 2. Moses is called to deliver the children of Israel. And he told them in Exodus chapter 4, verse 1, he said to the Lord, how will they believe that you have called me, that you have revealed yourself to me? And the Lord asked Moses, what is that that is in your hand? Now you have to remember that Moses was 40 years tending to sheep before God chose him to deliver the children of Israel. So he was trained with handling sheep first. So now that he's going to be dealing with people, the lessons from being a shepherd will help him to guide God's people from Egyptian bondage to the promised land, right? So human effort. So God asked Moses in Exodus chapter 4, verse 2, what is in thy hand? And he told him, there's a staff. So lessons from being a shepherd with that staff will help you to know how to guide my people as they journey from Egyptian bondage to the promised land. Another Bible verse is John chapter 11, verse 39. It's the story of Lazarus. Lazarus is dead, his body is decomposed. Jesus is about to work a miracle in raising Lazarus from the dead. But before he could do it, he asked them in John chapter 11, verse 39, roll away the stone. Meaning, you have a physical part, human effort is needed to bring Lazarus from the dead. Jesus could have miraculously removed the stone, but instead he said to them, you roll away the stone. And you know, when Jesus asked them to roll away the stone, it revealed their unbelief. They said, Lord, he is now stench. It's been 4 days. He is decomposed. But Jesus said to them, roll away the stone. Why? Human effort was needed to bring that miracle of raising Lazarus from the dead. And the wisest man Solomon wrote in Ecclesiastes chapter 9, verse 10, whatsoever thy hand findeth to do, do it with all thy might. Can you imagine when I do full power on my airplane, it's supposed to give me 230 horsepower of thrust to get that airplane moving. But when I do full power, it's only giving me 60 horsepower. It's not enough to push that airplane to fly. So in life, beloved friends, in life, to close, in life, no matter what God asks us to do, no matter what we are called to do, there has to be some human effort. Now, there are many people who are born in pretty good family, well-off family, where they have a lot of human effort involved. They have money, they have material things, they are from a good family, they have a good education. And then there are others who they don't have much effort to offer. But the good thing I like, beloved friends, is that whether we have the capabilities a lot or a little, at the end of the day, God can strengthen that which is weak. He can give us the human strength that we need. The Bible actually tells us, I can do all things through Christ, which strengtheneth me. So when it comes to aerodynamics on the cross, and lesson number one is thrust. Thrust represents human effort. When we have a calling, when we have a decision to make, when God is asking us to do something, we have a part to play in ensuring that our plans or God's plan and his will for us can propel us forward. I hope you enjoyed episode one. I look forward to sharing with you. Episode two is going to be dealing with lift, which is the upward force. But before we go to that one, why not do drag? The opposite of thrust is drag. So episode two will be on drag. See you for that. God bless and mabuhay from the Philippines.